What is up, everyone? Speaking Nerd Podcast back here, all excited. I probably just, screamed in everybody's ears, but that's okay because today, everyone, is Friday the 13th, and we got AJ in here, and we're going to talk about the greatest movie franchise ever that has no
You ready
bad
to be
sequels. Yeah,
terrified?
was that an evil laugh?
Totally evil. Completely evil.
You're not Freddy Krueger.
And then I'll just start being like,
So, everyone, for those that are not aware, today is Friday the 13th, and this is an episode that I've been wanting to doing. That I'm slurring my words, kind of excited. This is an episode that I've wanted to do ever since I restarted this podcast all the way back in 2020. This is an episode I've been waiting to do. I have had a thumbnail ready and everything. I'm ready to talk about this. And just like we've done with the Halloween franchise and probably some others, we're just going to go movie by movie and talk about how we feel and just, But before that, I think we should talk about how we feel about the franchise proper. So I'm going to let you take this. How do you feel about Friday the 13th? What's
I
your history?
I love I love Friday the 13th because it's like they're junk food movies in the best ways,
Hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have any kind of like expectations, you know, when you sit down with a Friday the 13th movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can just sit down and enjoy it for, as bonkers as it can get for like the later movies, or just, just fun, camp horror kills in like the early movies. There's always something to be enjoyed.
Right.
Um, I mean, I remember watching through the movies for the first time with my brother, and yeah, it was just a blast. And also just like getting more into the horror community and watching a lot of videos about like kind of breaking down all the movies. It was always fun.
Hmm. Yeah. I love Jason Voorhees. I've always loved Jason Voorhees ever since I was like a 4-year-old kid. I have an ever loving fascination with that character, and like my love came from the character first, and then later, I think after like 2009 when the reboot came out, like 2010, that's when I started getting into the movies themselves.
He
And it's
he's
one of those things where I love watching them like every few years or so, just marathoning them. And because there's like each of them has something to offer, even the bad ones. And
Mhm.
it's just something that I hold very near and dear. Like even but like I love Freddy Krueger, I love Michael Myers, I love Ghostface, Chucky, all of those characters in those series. But to me, the crown jewel, the one that I always come back to, is Friday the 13th. So it's everlasting in
I,
my opinion.
it's just it is always going to be iconic. And I mean like the summer camp horror movie, uh, I think is especially um I mean, it makes sense to talk about right now because we're like in the middle of the summer.
Mhm.
Like this is the time.
This is the
This is the
time.
time where he comes out to avenge his mother.
Today is his birthday. And I'm mostly joking, but it actually is his birthday today. But anyway, um, so yeah, I figure now we'll just go movie by movie and say how we feel about it on its own, and then by the end we'll just kind of encapsulate the franchise. Or I guess we already did, but we'll figure what to do at the end. But anyway, let's talk about the original Friday the 13th. So, what's your hot take on this, if you have any?
I know there's like I know there's not a l at least from people I've talked to, there's not a lot of love for the original Friday the 13th, but I kinda love it, because it feels, well, so I guess spoiler warning for a movie that is multiple decades old, but, the reveal of, like, who the killer is in the movie, I think is pretty great, um, and she feels like a Hitchcock villain for some reason, I don't know. Like, that's always been the vibe for me, and also it just perfectly set up the rest of the franchise, and I think still has some pretty iconic kills.
Yeah.
Obviously, it just gets better, you know, the more movies there are, but, I think it's a pretty perfect classic.
I'm more so in the camp with everyone else. I don't hate the movie necessarily. I think it is a little
But
too
I don't
slow for
think it's
most of
as
it.
good I don't think it's as good as, like, some of the other ones, but
No.
I do really love the killer, even if,
Yeah.
like, she's not as iconic as Jason.
Yeah. When you really
Um,
break it down, this is basically Sean S. Cunningham trying to do Halloween or his version of Halloween. So a lot of
Pretty
those
much.
beats are there. But what we do have, um, like for the good stuff, we have the killer who, spoilers, it's not Jason, like we said. It's actually his mother, Pamela.
Yeah,
So that last chunk of the movie with her and Alice, I believe the final girl's name is.
yeah.
So her and
I
Alice is just great.
yeah, I think yeah, I think she played the role, like, pretty brilliantly.
Mhm.
Um, for, like, a one-off killer, uh, she was, like she had a very specific vibe to her that I think, made for an interesting ending. Also, I mean, the way she dies is iconic.
Oh, yeah. I think, yeah, the last chunk of the movie with Pamela is great. The kills are, like, just amazing
Yes.
with special effects work. The highlight, for me and probably for the rest of the series, one of my favorite kills is with, Kevin Bacon getting the arrow
Yes,
right through his
I
neck.
agree. That's just pitch perfect.
And, also the score too by, Harry Manfredini is just, like,
Absolutely.
top-notch horror. It's
And
cinema.
it just sets up a really good foundation for the rest of the movies.
Yeah. Besides those, I think the movie is just kinda like, it's just a little too boring, but that's.
It is very much not, like it's not wanting to be, like I wouldn't say it's not wanting to be a slasher movie, but it's not it doesn't feel like it wants to be a Friday the 13th movie, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's not like the later movies where it's more so spectacle, like,
Yeah, but
when it
also,
comes
like,
to kills and stuff.
it is the first movie, so it makes sense, but it it stands out looking at the other movies. I mean, especially since Jason is not the
Yeah,
killer.
yeah, and, yeah, that I as much as I like to say, it's not the greatest movie in the horror genre, there's millions of others that have surpassed it. I still give the movie its props and its dues, especially when it comes to what it accomplished on its own and the legacy that it's had since 1980. So,
Yeah, it's still an important piece of history.
yeah, just a fantastic time overall. Um, well, sort of fantastic. Well, it's fantastic for certain reasons. Anyway, um, let's talk about Friday the 13th Part 2. I
Honestly,
think I think this movie is okay.
His one thing I've always like never really liked about this movie is the way it starts. Um, kind of annoys me.
Yeah, with Alice getting killed off.
Yeah, it's just so it's just a stupid way of doing it to me. Um, especially since I think she was a pretty good final girl.
Hmm.
Um, and to like carry her over into a second movie and give her like what is it, like 10 minutes?
Maybe 10 minutes. Yeah.
Felt kind of pointless to them.
Right.
But it does have, I mean, and but like there are still a lot of good kills in this one. Um, we move closer to the iconic Jason that we know and love,
Right.
but not completely there yet. And um it was brought to my attention recently um from a video essay I watched about the Friday the 13th remake that the 2009 remake basically so it remade the first movie in like the opening, but the rest of the movie is basically Friday the 13th too.
2 to 4, I would. Yeah, 2 to 4,
But like the
definitely.
bulk is a lot of two inspiration,
Yeah, for sure.
especially with like focusing on, you know, the the watch and like his mother kind of thing and like the secret lair. I think the ending is pretty fun, but
The ending is fun. Yeah, and I like the final girl in this movie, Jeannie, a lot,
yeah.
especially how they set up her using like her child psychology degree or whatever. So by the
Yeah,
end, she puts on the sweater and is basically just imitating uh, Pamela to try and coerce Jason to not
yeah,
killing her. So
that was a really smart way of using like establishing and using a part of her character to defeat Jason.
yeah, Jason's pretty cool in this. He's basically a lumberjack with a potato sack on his head, but still
He's
pretty
getting there.
intimidating.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. He hasn't reached the hockey mask yet. Not until the next movie, but
Yeah, it is funny how much these movies like took their time to uh get him like to the iconic look that like we all know him for.
one thing I like about this part of the franchise or like this era, and we kind of see it throughout the first like 4 or 5 movies or so, is that there's like there's actual continuity between them. Like it's not
Mm,
like it's not like some other franchises where they're kind of loose with continuity, like especially stuff like Nightmare and Halloween and whatnot. But this one
yeah,
is literally it's a year later, and the next movie after part 3 is like the next day, and then part 4 is literally the day after. So parts 2 to 4 is literally set in a weekend
yeah.
or like in the span of a week. So that's pretty cool. But
Plus, like having
part
the final girl from the last movie appear at the beginning of the next movies,
right.
kind of crazy.
But yeah, one of the problems I have with part 2 is that it's very much note for note. Like they take a lot of beats from the first movie,
Yeah,
so it feels very samey.
it's kind of like an Evil Dead 2 situation, but Evil Dead 2 is good.
Yeah,
But
but yeah,
yeah,
this one's
it was kind
okay.
of
Part 2 is okay.
the classic move of, remaking the first movie as the sequel. Not like completely, but,
Right.
a lot of stuff.
So now let's talk about part three. 3D.
Jason in 3D.
Yeah, this movie was shot in 3D. And it's honestly, a lot of people like to shit all over it because of it. I think it's one of the best things about it because
I
it's
think
stupid and I love that shit.
yeah, I think the schlockier you can get with a Friday the 13th movie is it's you know you're doing your job. Like, uh, I think just put all of it in and see what happens.
hmm
And I definitely think it services the vibe, if that makes any sense. The 3D-ness
Yeah,
and
besides the
the
3D, besides the
achievements.
3D, the story is a little more interesting than part two, one and two, I think. And then also, this is where we get the iconic hockey mask showing up for the
Yeah,
first time.
like it gets an extra point for just that, but also it was just like it feels like we're moving towards like uh we're moving past the first movie and just kind of doing a new like story kind of thing.
Right.
Plus the hockey mask.
Also, we get Shelly, who's one of my favorite characters ever in this series. And a lot
It's
of people
true.
like to shit on him, but I love the kid. He's great.
I think he's awesome.
He's the reason that Jason has that mask in the first place. So
So
it's all
actually,
due to him.
the hero. It's the hero.
He is the hero until he gets his throat slit, but
It's true.
sadly. Yeah, there's not really much else to say with part three. Like it's the first it's basically the same movie again, except some kills are in 3D, which sometimes looks cool, sometimes looks corny, and
It's
other
true.
times just like is whatever.
I I'd be curious to see them try to do that again. Just to see what would happen. But also it's impossible to get a Friday the 13th movie uh created these days for some reason.
Well, it's definitely gonna be a while before we get another one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's been what, like 16 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Man,
Damn.
man, that's rough.
All
What
right,
is that show?
um let's move on to my or what I consider the best Friday movie, part 4, the final chapter, which
I can definitely get with that.
yeah, that
Chapter
title is
4 is
complete bullshit, but that's
it,
a great
it is
movie.
it is, but also like I said with Friday the 13th, you got to go full ham. Got to go full ham, you know. Go with the most absurd subtitle ever, which is the final chapter.
Yeah. I love everything about this movie. Like how the story progresses, the characters we meet, like Corey Feldman's character, Tommy Jarvis. We see him as a
it's
little
just
kid.
it's just the most interesting that
Yeah.
Friday has achieved.
Also, the teens in this movie are actual characters who I like.
Yeah, they
Aside
make
from like
sense. They're not just stupid.
Crispin Glover,
Yeah,
one of my favorite characters in that movie, by far.
which was not on my bucket list until I watched it.
hmm
That Crispin Glover would be in a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah. Hey Ted, where the hell's the corkscrew? But yeah,
Might as well.
it's the kills in this movie are just great. Like the one
Mhm.
like Crispin Glover's death, who I just talked about a little bit. he gets a corkscrew in his hand, and then he gets a machete in his face, and then also like Tom Savini, he came back from the first movie, and his makeup effects is just it's just a sight to behold.
Just
It's
peak
amazing.
style.
Yeah,
I just feel like everybody was at the top of their game on this.
definitely. If this was gonna be the last movie, uh, then they definitely went out on a ball for sure. And Jason actually dies. Human Jason is done. He's cooked.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm afraid this was very much not the last movie.
No. Well, you know what? I'm kind of glad because my favorite movie is coming up here, not next, but right afterwards. But
Oh yes.
so part 5, A New Beginning. This movie is, I don't know. I don't know. It's there.
It definitely exists. It is definitely a thing that exists. Anyway.
So let's move on to parts. No, I'm kidding. But so this movie we have grown-up Tommy Jarvis, who I think is like supposed to be 18 in this movie,
I think so.
but
It's kind of unclear.
he's recast and he's also super traumatized. And um most of the characters are kind of just dull. Aside from the redneck family, the redneck family is fun to watch. And then we
Those
also
are
have a
real.
copycat Jason who Mr. Roy Burns, who kind of sucks, but at least his mask looked cool.
Yeah.
I
I
like the
just wasn't
blue.
sure. I just wasn't sure like what they were doing with that character.
Well, it's the whole contrivance of him being the killer just doesn't make any sense and is kind of dumb
Yeah.
because his kid is in a mental like in a not mental facility, but like in a mental camp or whatever. He offers a guy a chocolate bar. He doesn't take it, and then he gets killed. And then he is a paramedic who discovers his body and is shocked. And apparently, he didn't know that his kid was even there. So it's all contrived and it's all stupid. But
Yeah, it was just it's the kind of story where you can tell they were just writing it as they were shooting it.
mm,
At least that's what it feels like.
one thing that bothers me is the kills a little bit because they all have some really good ideas. Like
Yeah.
that couple in the forest. One of them uh, gets shears through her face, like they go into her
Mm.
eyes and stuff. It's all shot from a low angle of it going in, so you don't actually see
Yeah,
any impact.
like there's some good juice there, like they have good ideas. It just doesn't really all come together.
Yeah. What bothers
What
me
do you
is that
think?
it's all shot with like different cuts and close-ups. Like it just doesn't hit the same. So
It's not it's not like all one unified style.
yeah, the movie itself is just it's kind of middle of the road. Like it's a middle of the
It's
road
like
Friday the 13th movie.
it's like it's like every time I watch what is it, Dream Baby? Uh Nightmare on Elm Street.
Dream Child,
Yeah, Dream Child. I'm sorry,
Dream Baby.
it's so bad that I forgot part of the name.
It's a boy. We should do
I
a
try to
nightmare
forget
episode at
that
some
there's
point.
any Nightmare on Elm Street movies in between Dream Warriors and New Nightmare.
I don't blame you because I feel the exact same way. Hell, put Nightmare Part 2 on that list. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about my favorite Friday the 13th movie, Part 6, Jason Lives. What do you think of this movie?
Peak,
Peak.
peak.
I think it did Scream. It does Scream before Scream. Like it's a self-aware horror comedy essentially.
Well, it's in the same vein as, Scream, New Nightmare. Uh, like it was part of that line of,
Yeah.
kind of where horror was going. Um, and it has its finger on the pulse, thankfully.
Yeah, I love it just because they knew the whole concept of bringing Jason back was ridiculous and they just went with it. There's all
It's
types
just
of
like,
meta jokes throughout the movie and also it's a great story too with Tommy like the end of the Tommy Jarvis saga and Jason coming back.
I think that's what makes I think that's like what makes the best Friday the 13th stuff is when it's just as absurd as possible.
Right. And this isn't even the worst of it when it comes to being absurd. Not yet
Oh,
anyway.
that's it's a pretty measured, you know, delivery of what is an absurd concept.
Yeah, this one is great to me because they go so far with meta humor and stuff, but it's not like the movie's a parody of itself. Like it's not a parody of the Friday movies.
Yeah.
It's just a Friday movie trying to be a little bit more fun than usual.
Mm. Yeah, being fun and smart at the same time.
Yeah, it was great. Great stuff. So, part 7?
What do we think
Okay,
of part
nothing to
7?
say about part 7. It's Jason versus Carrie. Fake Carrie anyway.
Yeah, you
Also, this
know,
is the first movie where we get Kane Hodder as Jason, and that already gives it brownie points.
that's true. That's true. You make a good point. Kane Hodder is good.
Kane Hodder is great.
Yeah,
If you've not seen his Friday movies or even Hatchet,
you
go
got it.
watch it. Yeah, go watch it.
You got it. He's the golden boy.
I think one thing that holds this movie back is them having to cut down so much of the actual horror of it
True.
because this was a time where the NPA was really strict, especially on Friday the 13th. So
Which is so
all the
hard because, like, Friday by nature is like, you know, raunchy and,
yeah,
uh,
it's schlock. Yeah,
bloody and yeah.
yeah, it's pure schlock. And so
So like, how do you do that under NPA regulation?
apparently their answer was to just cut away from it entirely for most of it.
Yeah.
But if you watch like the behind the scenes stuff for this, like all the kills that got cut down, it's actually really good. But um,
Yeah, it's just like, what was the Friday we didn't get is the question.
but at least we have the sleeping bag kill.
Mhm.
But yeah, I really dig this movie. Um, it's probably. Oh wait, I already did a video talking about my ranking of the series, so go watch that if you want to see my definitive list. Um, Now let's talk about part 8, which is one of the worst Friday movies. Not even just Friday movies, one of the worst horror movies ever. So bad.
Man.
So this is Jason Takes Manhattan, or more accurately, Jason takes a cruise ship to
Yeah.
Manhattan. He's only in Manhattan for what, like maybe 20 minutes? Not even
That's
that.
true. I mean, you really gotta admire the, like, absolutely bonkers title that this is.
Yeah.
It's forever iconic.
I think the only or the only thing worth seeing in this movie is that one shot of Jason in Times Square, and then also
Yes.
Jason on the Arsenio Hall show promoting it. That's the only thing worth watching. Everything else, throw that in a dumpster and light it on fire. Just forget about it. It's
You
bad.
know what we were talking about before about how the other movie wasn't a parody of Friday? Well, this is the parody.
This is new Paramount not giving a shit anymore. And they were
Yeah.
just like, well, fuck it. Just do whatever. You want to go to Manhattan? Sure. You have no budget, but you know, we'll make it happen, I guess, somehow.
Yeah, I feel like this is the equivalent of, like, the ending of the, Mystic Cult, Halloween trilogy.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, as far as this era of Friday, like to the late '80s and stuff, this would basically be the end of the series because everything
Yeah,
afterwards, like, I still like to consider canon, but like it doesn't really make
yeah,
sense to considering what happened in part 8. But yeah,
that's true.
it's just they had a great idea with Jason going to New York City, but they just didn't have the money to pull it off. And the script was
Yeah.
probably poorly written too, but
It's something I'd love to see, like, explored again, maybe.
yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, they got that Crystal
Just
Lake
call it
show,
Jason Goes to
and
Manhattan again.
they got that Crystal Lake show, and they talked about maybe putting Jason in at some point. So yeah,
That's true.
take him back to New York
I
City
hope
and actually do it right this time.
I hope that we find out something about that soon.
All I know is that Velma is playing Pamela Voorhees from the James Gunn Scooby Doo
Which is
movies.
insane.
I love it. I can't wait.
Pamela's hot now?
Do I want to make love to Pamela Voorhees? Is that what you're trying to do? All right. So after this movie, Paramount sold the rights to New Line Cinema, or I guess they more so sold the character to New Line Cinema because they still kept the franchise of Friday the 13th to themselves, which is why the next few movies are not like they don't say that they're Friday the 13th part 9, part 10, whatever. So they're just Jason movies. Um,
Which doesn't make sense, but,
it doesn't make
you go.
sense. No. So I guess for these next 3, you could basically just count them as their own timeline in a sense.
The Jason movies instead
The
of the
Jason
Friday.
saga, yeah, for sure. So we have Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. God, what a piece of shit this movie is.
Like, truly awful.
Yeah. It
Like,
starts off great, but then after he
yeah,
explodes into pieces, that's when the whole movie falls apart.
like, it's
Both
such a cool concept, again.
Yeah.
but it goes nowhere.
Also, it's just it's just Jason body swapping from person to person, and that's
Yeah,
lame.
it's it's the only thing I can compare it to is Halloween Ends with the whole Michael hiding in the sewers or whatever.
I wish I could compare it to that, but then saying that Halloween Ends is a much better movie than Jason Goes to Hell is.
It's true. Halloween Ends is like a much more competently made movie, like on so many levels.
I like Halloween Ends. Swifty doesn't, but I like Halloween Ends.
I um I think it is I think it's so close to being something really cool. I wish
Yeah.
it went I wish it went harder on um I wish it went harder on the mask stuff in relation to, uh the corporation. um because I think that could have gone somewhere cool. And
Hmm.
also I like the ideas that they were bringing to the table. But this isn't a Halloween video.
No,
And
this is Jason, motherfucker. And yeah, this movie's bad. So
this movie is awful.
it has a great opening sequence, and it
Yeah.
has probably one of my favorite endings, just for how shit your pants out of nowhere it is.
Yeah. It's like perfect beginning and end, but everything in between is bad.
Just, yeah, not great. Aside from some kills, maybe, but whatever. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So after that is Jason X, and I love Jason X.
I think it's pretty awesome. Like, just what a concept.
Yeah. You know what you do with a franchise when you've hit rock bottom? Take him to
I
outer
guess
space, baby.
I guess we needed to suffer so we could hit peak.
Yeah, it's a bad movie. It's a dumb movie, but I love it just for how bad and dumb it actually is.
Like again, with Friday the 13th, you gotta go ham on all the craziest concepts. You gotta let your freak flag fly.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, if you've never watched it, go watch it. Get some friends over, get some popcorn or something, like, just have something to munch on, and just enjoy how ridiculous it all is.
Imagine trying to watch all the Jason movies back to back. So much whiplash.
I have done that, and there's a little bit of whiplash, but
No, I mean just like just of the Jason saga,
oh,
not like
okay, yeah. All the New Line stuff, yeah.
yeah.
So he's a weird demon slug, and then he goes to hell and somehow in outer space, and then he fights Jason or Freddy Krueger? The
like
fuck?
just imagine showing that to somebody who had not seen any of the other movies.
Well, years ago, one of my friends, he was over at my house, and we were talking about Friday the 13th because he's never seen any of them. I was like, "Hey, you wanna watch something completely ridiculous?" So I just put on Jason X. He was like, "What the
That
fuck?"
sounds legendary.
Yeah. Alright. Jason X is cool, but you know what's even cooler? Jason fighting Freddy Krueger.
It's true.
What do you think of Freddy versus Jason?
I think this movie is insane in all the best ways.
Mm.
Like it's absolutely bonkers, but I love pretty much every second of it. Like, is I can't say it's a good movie, but it's a
No, it's not.
fun.
Yeah, it is. It is ridiculously fun. To me, this is probably one of my favorite horror movies ever. Not because of it, not because it's good, but
Yeah,
because
it's just fun.
it's a miracle this movie even got made in the first place.
It's a miracle that it works, like even a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I think they had a great foundation with with Freddy resurrecting Jason to kill the kids of Elm Street so they'd remember him, and everything that has Freddy and or Jason on screen for the most part is pretty good. The only thing that hurts this movie is everything else that's not Freddy and Jason, and then
True.
also Jason being scared of water, which is complete bullshit.
It's
Why?
stupid. Though I gotta say, Freddy Krueger is so good in this movie.
Freddy Krueger is at his best in this movie.
The last time we ever saw Freddy Krueger.
That's sad.
That's what I'm saying.
That's really sad.
And I'm
Robert's the
refu-
best.
and I'm refusing to acknowledge the existence of any other uh Freddy Kruegers played by people who aren't Robert England.
Well, whenever we get to a nightmare episode, we'll have to acknowledge somebody else at one point.
No, no, no. Start having uh 9/11 flashbacks.
Right. I got a really good idea of what they should like if they ever do another nightmare movie. I got a really good idea of how they approach using another actor. Um, just have somebody in the makeup chair and then have Freddy be voiced by Robert England.
That's peak.
Yeah.
Let me write and direct a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Mm.
Let me do it. Come on, guys. Let me do it. We peak.
I just want to be Jason. I want to put the hockey mask on. Whoever owns the franchise now, put the casting call out. I'll dial it up. I'll send in a tape, whatever you need me to do. I'm ready. I've been waiting since I was like 6 years old. Let's do this. But anyway,
You need to film yourself looking at a picture of Pamela Voorhees.
mm, yeah. So you thought we were done, but we're not quite done yet because we got one
Like,
more movie to talk about. Platinum Dunes remake or reboot, whatever you want to call it.
what do you think of this movie?
I think it's fine.
I think it's a fun movie. Um, I mean, barely any of the characters have any character, but I really like. I think the early 2000s style is interesting. Um, it's definitely better than the Nightmare on Elm Street contemporary. It's definitely a lot better.
Mm.
In my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, uh, yeah, I think it's a fun movie.
yeah. It's a nice return to form
Mhm.
because we're done with Jason going to Manhattan, outer space, and Elm Street. We're back in Crystal Lake, and we're doing things right. And like the characters, aside from Jared Padalecki, like they're all garbage, and that
Yeah,
sucks because I like Daniel Panabaker, but
it's like
um,
no character.
yeah. But Jason is rad in this movie. It's probably one of my favorite Jasons ever. Um,
Yeah, he looks great.
yeah, I like that he's actually like he's a survivalist and he's like intelligent.
Yeah, it's a really different take on Jason, and I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I dig it too. Yeah, I think if you asked me what's a good introduction to get into it, I would definitely put this on my list because this is basically all the early movies wrapped up in one.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's a great crash course on Friday the 13th
right.
because this movie just loves those movies.
And it's a shame that almost 20 years later we still haven't had another movie since
Yeah,
then.
like why?
Yeah.
Can't be that hard to.
We had some other stuff in the meantime, I guess. Like we had Jason in Mortal Kombat, we had his own video game, Multiverses for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason.
And now they're rebooting they're starting this whole Jason universe initiative, this brand, and hopefully we're gonna get some more Jason content out here soon because it's been way too goddamn long.
Yeah, please, please, we're starving.
Yes. But if you're looking for some really good fan content, go watch the Never Hike Alone fan films. They're
I
great.
agree. I agree. I'm subscribed to them on Kickstarter, so I
Mm,
know every time they're working on something.
right. But yeah, everybody, that
Great
is
quality.
that is going to be it for the Friday the 13th franchise. All 12 movies we talked about
Yes.
and a little bit of what came afterwards.
Yes.
And
What are you gonna watch any today?
oh, you know I will watch some today.
What are we thinking today? What are we
Um,
feeling?
I don't know. Part of me wants to watch part 4, but then also part of me wants to watch something ridiculous and zany like
I think
part
I might
6
do.
or Jason X or something.
I think I might do like 4 and uh maybe Jason X or Freddy vs. Jason maybe. Like a mixture of Peak and Goofy.
You already know I want to do Jason or Freddy versus Jason for a commentary track on this channel at some point.
So good.
Yeah. I have a thumbnail ready and everything. Yeah, I want to get the others with us also because I don't think they like I don't know what their extent with Jason is as far
I,
as
th- I
those
think
movies.
Josh has watched all of them. I
Yeah, I
believe.
don't I don't know if Caden has, but
Who cares about him?
I know that I know that Swifty's played the game at least, so he's familiar with that, but I don't know if he's ever seen Freddy versus Jason, but or Alter. But it'll be a nice fun time for all of us getting together to
It would
watch that.
be funny. It would be funny if it was their first times. It would actually be funnier if it was their first time.
Oh yeah. We should make that happen at some point.
Yes.
It'd be great. But yeah, I love this franchise. I love even with all the bad, I love it. And it's something that I'll keep supporting till the day I die. I want to be buried with that hockey mask
Yes.
on my face. and I want to come back as a rotting zombie
and
with
then
that hockey mask.
and then all Marvel will say when he comes back to life is shh, 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 shh.
Yeah, I got woods nearby my house. I could totally pass for Jason Voorhees.
It's true.
It's
You have
my
any,
it's
you
my
have any
lifelong dream.
are there any summer camps nearby?
Um, I don't think there's like not immediately close, but I think take a drive to some of them. But that would be fun, like especially with the lake nearby and everything.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
You gotta do like a Jason photo shoot.
Hmm. I just want to rise out of the lake with like the
Yes.
machete in my hand and somebody's like, you know, chopped off head in the other.
Or do it like Friday 13th one when he comes like over the boat.
Little swamp boy Jason, yeah. Yeah. But do you have any final remarks for Friday the 13th?
I just I love this wacky series. Um I'm definitely gonna watch one or two today. Um yeah, I just love these movies. Let horror be goofy. Um it doesn't all need to be elevated horror calling it these days.
Totally
Is
make a video essay about Jason Voorhees, and I'd totally watch it.
let horror be weird again. Yeah, just go
You know
watch a
what?
Friday today.
Yeah, just
Go
don't
watch a
watch.
Friday
Just don't
before.
watch. Just don't watch Part 8. Don't watch Jason Goes to Hell. Don't watch Part 5.
Yeah, I think we've been pretty clear on what you shouldn't watch.
Yeah, stop it.
So if you do
Get some
watch
help.
one of those movies, it's your fault. You
Yeah,
can't blame us.
yeah.
And if you choose to just end it all, it's not our fault.
And if you do start watching them, stop it. Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, I think that's going to wrap up for the video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of Friday the 13th. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you prefer Michael Myers? Do you prefer Freddy Krueger? Let us know and we'll have a discussion in the comments. But yeah,
Will you be
is there
watching?
anything you're working on, AJ, that you'd like to shout out?
Um, as you know, I've had a interesting week this week.
Mm,
Um, but I do have things in the works. This week was just a bit of a setback. But I'm working on an Ironheart video, and I'm working on a Star Wars Visions Volume 2 video.
mm.
The Ironheart video is gonna be a bit smaller. The Star Wars Visions video is gonna be massive. um, I'm really excited about both of them. And then next month,
Nice.
uh, I'm hoping to finish my It's a Wonderful Life video.
Mm,
Nothing like a Christmas video in July.
mm.
What about you?
Well, for anybody that has been paying attention to the review channel, I've been really excited for this day to come, and I've been hyping it up by doing Jason Week. So
Yes,
every day
sir.
this week has been a Friday the 13th related video. So I've talked about the game, I've talked about the movies, I did an unboxing and some other stuff, and there's still more yet to come. And I think by the time this video goes out, which will probably be later tonight, I have my review of the NES game that is up on the channel. So you should definitely go watch that. And I have some more stuff that's planned for the summer leading off of that review. So I'm excited. I can't
Any
wait. Yeah, but I've
Totally.
also like besides that, I've also got a video on the LP channel and I got a video for this channel. So everybody gets a taste of Jason today. So,
Yes.
but anyway, folks, um, have a great night. Thank you all so much for listening and take care of yourselves. Goodbye. He's such a nerd.